Welcome to the podcast of Torres Consulting. Here you will find information about the hospitality industry. News, opinion, debate, interviews, and anything related to hotels and the industry. My name is Pablo Torres, and you can follow me on my website www.torresconsulting.co.uk, on Twitter, on YouTube, and on LinkedIn. Pablo Torres. Hello and welcome to the Torres Consulting Podcast, episode 26, and a new interview. This time, after 6 interviews in Spanish, this is going to be the first one in English, so hopefully you will enjoy it as well. On this occasion, the guest is someone born in Colombia, raised in the UK, and who works in Spain. Now, he's developed most of his professional career in Hilton, and he's been working 13 years almost in the company by now. Yovany Santa Torres, how are you?
Hi, Pablo. I'm really good. So thank you very much for connecting with me. And thank you for inviting me for your podcast.
My pleasure. Good. So you work in hotels all your life, basically. So first question I'd like to ask you, it's why this industry? Why did you choose it?
Well, I've been with hotels for 13 years, like you mentioned before. And basically, I initially studied digital applications. So I wanted to do IT. And somehow I completed this course, but I didn't want it, or I didn't see myself working only in a computer, and I decided to work in catering companies or in restaurants. And after that, someone gave me the opportunity to be working in a hotel. And he told me, listen, if you want the career, this is the old school. And then I joined the Hilton London Paddington as a waiter. And from there, I fell in love. What I really liked was the engagement with the people, not only with the staff, but with the customers itself. So many guests from many origins, many cultures, and I love that diversity of that environment that I was in. So for me, hotels is a place where you can connect and you can meet and you can develop friendships. So this is why I chose hotels, and also, more important is because I have my own plan and vision of opening my own business in South America, Colombia, where I really want to have a sector where we encourage ecotourism. And, hotels is a big part of ecotourism in South America. So this is why I'm doing hotels at the moment, because I want to learn, I want to develop my skill set in order to encourage tourism into the natural side of Colombia. This is why.
Oh. All right, that's a nice one. Okay, we'll go back to it later. I want to just kind of follow your progression, because you said you started in Paddington as a waiter, and you've done within Hilton, Canary Wharf, Waldorf Astoria, then you went to Venice in Italy, back to the UK, Reading, London again, the Hilton Metropole, which I think is the biggest hotel in the country. And that's where we met a few years ago. And then for the last almost 3 years, if I follow your profile correctly, you've been in Barcelona.
Yes,
So
that's correct.
how was your progression? Because you started as a waiter, then you moved into rooms, and you were progressing within the rooms department, and now you're back to F&B as a manager. So how was the progression?
Well, I always, I entered to the hotel with the vision of growing, and I'm someone that likes moving. And I saw that opportunity that once I was a waiter, I started seeing the receptionist side, and I started seeing all of these individuals with suits and behaving very professional, very smart. So I said, maybe I can do that one day. And I was given the opportunity to be a receptionist. But then I felt that I wanted to be more. And I think this is the key for my development. Every time I chose a step or a role, I always wanted to go more. And because I like learning. And for me, the step-by-step progression in my career towards my ultimate goal has been fundamental. On choosing the right location, choosing the right role. I'm not someone that, just move because of the sake of moving. No, I like looking at the opportunities. What is it that I'm going to learn? Where I'm going to learn that? Who is managing the team? And what is it that can benefit me? And what is it that I can benefit the company? So for me, I would say that my career has been a very step-by-step career growth. In my opinion, and I've covered rooms, I covered a bit of reservations, I did night management, I did duty manager, I worked in the luxury sector, I worked in the very rapid large scale hotels, very small hotels, very corporate hotels, and the reason I came to Spain is because I wanted to have an international experience. Most of my experience has been in the UK, in London and Reading. but I wanted to try something different, and I joined the Hilton Diagonal Mar Barcelona as a front office manager. And before that, I'd had already been an FO manager in the past, but I wanted to have a different mindset, and indeed, it was a different mindset. It was a different culture. You know, in Spain, for example, people care more about living and the quality of life than actual work, and in the UK is the opposite. In the UK, you focus more on working and than living, and you know how that leadership mindset that I was bringing from the UK will adapt in Spain was the challenge for me, and I learned so many things. You know, I thought that I knew everything about front office or everything about hotels, but no, it's a different world, and this is why I keep challenging myself, and who knows, let's see where I progress. And now in F&B is because I felt that, you know, I've managed many rooms divisions department, and yes, I started as a waiter, but I haven't seen the commercial side of F&B, and this is why I was given the opportunity, because my next goal is to be director of operations or general manager, and I really wanted to see that part of the business. And you know, being an F&B manager is totally different to being a waiter. You know, yes, your core is service and your core is the culinary, but I think the commercial aspect of F&B is huge. You know, is more about proactive planning. Is more about, you know, when you take risks, how you take those risks, how you communicate to the team. It's a different model of operating. You know, in front office, for example, you're more, I would say, more organized in the way you communicate with your peers. In F&B is more of a direct approach. You know, you connect with the team members from the bottom line to top line, and you know, is different. So I really needed to join F&B, and in the last year, the things that I've learned, I'm just surprised that I never saw them when I was in front office, for example. So now in this role, I really like it, because I like planning, and F&B is all about planning at the end of the day. So this is why I'm there.
A big change in that hotel. I mean, I remember going to the hotel for reasons, and the restaurant. I mean, no offense, but it was the usual dull restaurant. You know, the usual hotel boring restaurant. Whilst now you have a Michelin star, completely different concept, right?
I mean, when I joined this hotel, the hotel was in a repositioning phase. So they were building up the rooms, they were refurbishing the meeting rooms, they were refurbishing the lobby grounds as well. And, you know, the whole facade of the hotel changed. And you know, when I was in front office, I had to focus on how we elevate the service to meet the standards of our rooms and the meeting space and everything else. And then when I joined F&B, it was just recently after opening the lobby with 2 new restaurant concepts. So we had Aürt, who is our Michelin star restaurant. Actually, we were awarded with this Michelin star restaurant last year in November. And then we have another restaurant, which is more of a lobby bar restaurant, which offers the distillation, fermentation, and cocktails, of course, which is mine, which is more of a lobby-based restaurant. So these 2 restaurants are unique. It's an absolute experience, because, you know, I've never worked in a Michelin star restaurant, for example, or managing a team of Michelin professionals. And, you know, is from selecting a quality wine to, you know, adapting to a demanding Michelin chef, to, you know, ensuring that we deliver the great service to those customers that are paying for that culinary experience. You know, the team to be able to have a very disciplined and consistent approach towards great service is been a remarkable challenge, but a rewarding one. Having said that, you know, this F&B department in this hotel is quite peculiar, because we have also a Puro Beach club. So it has different concepts. So we have the Michelin stars, so the high-end quality of culinary. Then we have the lobby bar restaurant. Then we have sort of the urban oasis club, should we say, you know, where people go and relax next to the pool, have some cocktails, there's live DJs, you know, and we do big events up to 700 people in Puro Beach as well. So, you know, and on top of this, managing the banqueting side, you know, all of the meeting room spaces.
Hotel as well, yeah.
Exactly. So for me, you know, managing all of these departments or areas has been a real challenge, in the sense that, you know, I had to put it into practice what I've learned in these past years of managing people, you know, managing how we can create a vision and how we can create or meet our goals. So for me, it's been rewarding, you know. And if you haven't been to Diagonal Mar Barcelona, I recommend you to come and visit one day for a coffee, and you will see the craziness that happens on an everyday life of an F&B manager.
Yeah, I mean, quite a mix, as you're saying. Whoever is listening or watching this podcast, you have all the MICE meeting events, which is very large operation that you have in there. The unusual Puro Beach concept within a hotel in the city. You know, it's not far from the beach, but it is an urban environment, and it's really, really nice, as you said. Plus the new Michelin star. And going to what you mentioned about like managing people, all of your learn. I want to touch base with you on that, because I remember when we met in London, that you had a kind of what I found peculiar way of recruiting. It was a very large hotel, and the turnover in the UK, or especially in London, is very, very high. So you were basically recruiting non-stop, having a good pool of candidates to find them where to fit them. So can you go into that, because I think it's very interesting.
Well, I think one of the things that I always do when I join a hotel is learn of what my department is built of, you know, and I look at, you know, who's working and what are the necessities of my department. So, and to have a good environment and deliver results, you need to have the right team. And for me, that is fundamental. So when I went to work at this large property, 1,059 bedrooms, you know, my team, it was around 150 people more or less in one department. So either if it was a receptionist or concierge or telephonist or whatever you name it, it was a huge team. And in this hotel, when I joined, you know, because of the volume, you know, the team members get more volume, you know, and because they get more volume, they get tired very quickly, or they become very comfortable quickly. So I said, okay, the turnover is very high. What can I do to make sure we change this in order to make the team members stay and we retain them within the hotel or within the brand? So I started doing a SWOT analysis of every team member. So I first started doing a one-to-ones with everyone to see what they like, what they didn't like, you know, even if they like morning shift or late shift. And I started observing them, you know. I was taking sometimes my work into the lobby and just observing the team, who behaves how, who's quicker at check-ins, who's not so quick, who's smiling more. So I started using that with the managerial team that I was in charge of or leading. I said, look, so this team member is very talkative, and we normally have talkative clientele coming in the afternoon. So let's shift them in the afternoon. This team member is very fast, is very task orientated. Let's move them into a task orientated job, such as the group desk. You know, is mainly preparing keys, preparing registration cards, and so on. So we started doing this. So when I built this pattern that everyone was doing something with a purpose that would fulfill them and will strengthen their skills, I transmitted this into the recruitment part as well. So when I was training my collaborators in recruitment, I said, look, whoever we hire, we need to hire with a vision, you know, that in 6 months, yes, they're gonna learn something basic, which is check in and check out, and then what next? So for me, the timeline for a team member was between 6 to 9 months. They needed to do or learn something new. So every time someone was joining in, we knew that, you know, that person has potential to go and do something else within 6 to 9 months. So, and I think we developed a whole, you know, vicious circle that, you know, I do this because I'm going to learn something new. And when I learn something new, I'm going to be given the opportunity in 9 months to do something like this. So by doing this, the department became more efficient, more productive. And actually our synergies within the team were crazy, because, you know, I knew that everyone in the team could do everything at the end of the day. And the team were more engaged because they knew that they were not going to be only a receptionist. They looked for a growth or a vision that, you know, I'm going to grow, I'm going to become this. And for me, that worked really well. So in the interviews, what I really liked, I'm not so worried or focused too much on, what skills you have, or what have you studied. For me, it's all about the personality. For me, if you have the right personality, if you have the willingness to learn, and you have that can-do attitude, you can be anywhere and you can learn so many things. And one of the things that I used to ask my my trainer, the departmental trainer, is, listen, and when she used to come with doubts, and listen, Yovany, I think this team member is not working well, or is not learning. I used to always challenge. There's two things: is it lack of training or lack of will? If it's lack of training, we can change that. If it's lack of will, it's different. So all my leadership team was always thinking, okay, what is it? Lack of will or lack of leadership? And or lack of training. So when we determine is lack of training, we used to find out what makes them tick, and we change them. Okay, maybe you're not for a frontline role. Let me put you in the back end, to do administration tasks. Let me put you answering the phone. Let me, you're more active. So let me give you an opportunity as a bell staff, or let's put you in the executive lounge because you really like developing this relationship. So for me, that's what worked really well. Looking at the personality, selecting the personality based on what I need in the department, but always hiring someone with the potential to grow.
That's amazing. Can that be replicated in another department? Now you're in F&B. Are you following the same pattern then?
I think yes. At the end of the day, we are humans, and we are not machines. And I think you find that team members behave on how you treat them, and if you really give a purpose to anyone, from the moment you're hiring them, the likelihood of that team member being extremely engaged of what they do is high, and it's the same. For example, when I joined the Barcelona team, I said, okay, I come with this mentality. I want to make sure we deliver on goals. That I'm bringing this vision. How we can make everyone believe in this vision. So first is the selecting, and first is the trust. So you must build trust within the team. Once you have that trust, who you bring in as an additional team member is fundamental. And for me, the filtering of a team member or an interview, I don't like doing the typical interviews. I train many team members on interviewing candidates, and they get amazed with the questions that we ask, because I don't ask, why I should hire you and all of this. No, I ask about personalities. I've done interviews walking through the lobby because I want team members or candidates to relax. I want to see their personality. One of the questions that I really ask, or if you've been a candidate, you will reflect to this, because I always ask, what fruit would you like to be and why, for example? And candidates will say, oh, why are you asking me this? And the reason I'm asking this type of fruits is not because I want to know if you're a mango or if you're a watermelon. No, I want to see what you come up with, because maybe you have creativity. Is it a question that you was not prepared for? And I ask random questions. Sometimes I sit in the lobby and say, look, pick one thing around the lobby and tell me if that is you, what I will describe you. And this is when a person really puts into practice, okay, I'm like this, I'm reflecting in this lamp because I'm bright, I switch on and I switch off, and I maintain the brightness of the, things like this. And like this is when you get the most of people. I don't want any candidate to feel, oh, it's an interview. I think is a two to tango. It needs to be two. So I need to like you, you need to like me. And I think this is the key of recruitment. And I have applied this in several positions, and I have applied this now in Barcelona. For example, in January, where we were preparing to open up Puro Beach. So the team and I interview around 210 candidates. Wow. So there was a lot of filtering. There was a lot of thinking who I need and where I need them and what skills I need. From either a bartender or a barista or a hostess or a waitress, whatever. But I needed to know, and this was a clear mention to my team, we need to know what we need. So as a receptionist, this is what I need. As a mixologist, this is what I need. As a sommelier, this is what we need. And with those personalities, making sure that they are good for service and not only in the technical skills, we build up a plan and we take out the best of the personalities during an interview. So this is, for me, it works. For me, everywhere I go, that recruitment process and mentality is vital.
Oh, and it shows obviously that it works. So personality linked to the service and thinking outside the box. Yeah, I mean, you're right with the questions. I mean, I never had those questions before, to be honest, never been an interview or anybody using them. But it's true that what happens sometimes that people learn by heart the questions. And it's very scripted, usually the interviews. So they know what they're going to be asked and they know what to answer already beforehand, right?
Exactly. And I think that's, I mean, sometimes it's a shame. Sometimes I see candidates that they come very prepared, but they're only answering what you want them, or basically they're answering only what you think you want to hear. And this is not true. It's not like that. I think the interviews should be on a more personal level.
Yeah, to get the real them. Otherwise, it's just what they tell you, what they think you want to hear, but not the real them. Yeah.
Exactly.
That's a very good point. Yeah. Going back, I mean, through your career, I mean, you work in many hotels, mainly in Hilton. Anyone who's been a kind of a mentor for you? Anyone who guided you, helped you develop in some way?
I mean, I had a few mentors along the way, but one has which has highly influenced my professional life at the start of my managerial career. I have to mention her is Alexandra Blore at the time. She was my front office manager at Hilton London Canary Wharf. So this lady, she was phenomenal in how structured she was. She was very organized. She was very disciplined, and she was always working towards the right thing for the department. And you know, the best, for example, the best induction I had, which I now do for my team, is created by her. You know, she when I came in on my first week, she had a big folder like this and told me, this is what you're going to be doing in 1 week. This is what you're going to do in second week, third week. And I had an induction plan for up to 3 months. So I was like, wow, you know, this lady has really taken the time to welcome me up into her team. And that orientation made me feel very engaged. And all of the lessons that she gave me throughout, I never thought of, you know, this is wow. And, you know, when I left and I moved into a different challenge, she told me, look, I'm sorry that sometimes we had ups and downs, and I never felt an up and down. You know, I always felt an up, because she knew how to communicate. She knew how to tell me off. She knew how to redirect me. And I never felt like she punished me or, you know, argue with me or anything. No, it was very natural, very clear, very human. And this is someone that I would like to mention, of course.
Nice one. Now, focusing back on Barcelona, where you are at the moment, how do you see the hotel environment? I mean, let's put COVID aside. So before the pandemic, how do you see the city, the buzz? There's been a lot of talk about like over tourism and some people complaining that it's becoming too much in the city. So what is your experience in that sense?
I really think, look, the Mediterranean is the Mediterranean. And if you come to Barcelona, it's because you're looking for something unique. You know, and I'm new to Barcelona. Well, I've been now 2 years and a half in Barcelona. And one of the things that I like is that it's so much culture, you know, and whether if you want to go and visit architecture, you have it. Whether if you want to have the gastronomical experience approach, you have that in Barcelona. If you want only to relax at the beach, you can do it. You can find hotels of any scale. If you want 1 star to luxury brands, you find it in Barcelona. And I think I'm not promoting the city, but I think this is how I feel, and this is how I see tourism in Barcelona. Yes, there is a lot going on, especially in July and August, but I have never felt that I'm intimidated by tourists. I never felt that, you know, oh yeah, no, I don't think that's the case. And I feel that, you know, the city has too much to offer to everyone that comes in, either if you come to visit, either if you stay in for your family or living in Barcelona. There's a lot going on for everyone. And, you know, I come from London, and London is very diverse, very big. Barcelona is smaller, but it's also very diverse and very big. And tourism for me is that, and you have everything. You know, hotels make up a good margin of capturing this tourism, and, you know, and makes you remain very competitive, because there's a lot of hotels, and how you compete against the one next door, and how you know, reposition in the city. is up to the service that you offer to customers. So for me, I don't think it's overpopulated. I don't think tourism is bigger than people living here or bigger than culture. No, I think there's room for everyone. And if you haven't come and try. Don't believe anything bad that you heard about Barcelona. No, it's a wonderful city next to the Mediterranean. You have mountains, you have rivers. It's endless.
No, true. It's an amazing city. That's why it's lots of people want to go there, because it is
exactly. Yeah,
it is amazing. Yeah. Now, however, we do have the pandemic, so it's a question I have to ask you. So reopening very soon the hotel. We're recording this at the end of June. So how do you see the new normal, as they call it? It's a bit of overused term.
I think at the beginning, now everyone is very afraid, very scared, where should I go? Where should I stay? But I think a lot of hotels in Barcelona are doing the stay clean protocols and, working with the local enforcements to ensure that we comply, we're on 1.5 meter distance, how we disinfect touch points within the hotel as well. So I think at first, we've been in confinement for over 3 months. Travelers now may feel that, a lot of travelers may feel that they want to go and disconnect somewhere where there's open air and nature, or maybe a resort, and maybe hotels that are more in the city will suffer at first, because people want just to be next to the beach, something that is open and has nice terraces, and this is how I see it. But I think, for this summer is pretty much gone. Now we're at the end of pretty much mid-June now. I will see a normality maybe next year summer. And for me, the rest of this year and beginning of next year is rebuilding back the trust into travelers, back into the staff. So that trust part is going to come slowly and gradually. And I wouldn't be surprised if hotels fill up very rapidly as well, because people are, people want to go out, people want to go on vacation, even though the income wasn't the same as before. People still want to go and disconnect from being at home for 3 months. So I don't think hotels should feel very afraid. I think Catalonia is doing very well in allowing establishments to open on normal basis, and because that generates the hope. And look, I'm open now, and anyone that comes in will see it, and they start talking. I stayed at this property, they're doing this, and I think it's the right thing to do. We shouldn't be afraid. We should definitely protect ourselves and protect others, by wearing the mask where there's no an opportunity to have the distance of 1.5 meter. But if you follow your self protocol of being hygiene, clean, and disinfect your hands and everything, and you stay at a property that is also compliant with this clean protocols as well, you shouldn't be worried about. And Barcelona will definitely come back to the stage. Not this year, because I think that's very ambitious. But maybe for next year, we could see a good pickup.
Good. So about the cleaning protocols, I saw a video you posted on YouTube about how to travel, how to take a flight using the cleaning protocols. And it's something I wanted to touch base with you as well. So you have your YouTube channel, you created a LinkedIn group also for professionals. You're very active in social media. And you mentioned that, in the future, you have that idea in mind about some sort of resort of ecotourism in South America. So tell us about a bit more. Sorry.
Right. So basically, I always wanted to, and this is why I joined the hotel industry, because I really see myself on allowing travelers to connect with nature and promoting those developing countries. I'm from Colombia, so I'm very proud of that, and I would really want to recommend travelers to go into this sector and discover, up the mountain. Let's go and get coffee beans, and let's go fishing, let's go horse riding, all that ecotourism, which has to be obviously sustainable, because if you use it a lot, it could go on the wrong side. So I always wanted this, and my vision is, I see myself as an ambassador, having my own business, transporting these people. So during the confinement, I decided, let me use my time. I never had time to create content or talk about this sector. So I created Why Hotelier. So Why Hotelier, you can find them on Instagram or LinkedIn or YouTube. and where I've initially concentrated on how you can travel during the pandemic. So I traveled as well. I went to the UK for family reasons. So, for example, how is the protocol before you fly? So what are the things that I've done prior to selecting my flight, selecting when to fly, what to take with me on the plane, what information or maybe what questions that could be faced at the airport, either in Spain or in the UK. And, things like this, you can find them in there. But more important now, I'm creating content on why we should choose ecotourism. So if you're really into the natural aspect of ecotourism, or also how alive as a hotelier is, you can find me on Instagram and you can see all of this content. I talk about, I do a lot of reflection every now and then on how I feel, how I see team members, how I see the service. And I just try to think on the 13 years of experience that I have in the hotel sector to put all this reflection that can influence the people. So also, if you have never tried, for example, the natural side of the travel and tourism, and if you really want to explore that, there's a lot going on there as well. And it's not just the typical city hotel where you have the swimming pool. No, there's a lot of things going on. I think there's two things for everyone at the end of the day. So for me, is that.
I mean, big choice in that sense. Ecotourism is a part of the industry, but it's still developing and it's so much to be done. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Exactly.
In that sense.
Yeah.
One more question I have here for you, and it's you have a lot of experience, especially recruiting, and I like to also get the podcast to be a sort of voice for young people, or for them to listen to good professionals. So what would be your advice to someone who's studying maybe now or is considering getting into the hospitality world? Some tips for that person to grow professionally.
Well, I think if you like people, hotels is the place. That's the number one question that you must ask yourself. One of the posts that I'll be posting very soon on my Instagram is about smiling, for example. And if you don't like smiling, you just pose for your passport photo, and that's it. If you don't like smiling, just take plenty of photos for your passport picture, and that's it. But if you like smiling, hospitality is a ground that will allow you to express this, because service is all about being genuine. And if you feel that, you like connecting, you like talking, or maybe not even that you really want to develop any skills on how to maintain long conversations, how you develop relationships, and how you can become less shy in public, hotels is one sector. So I will challenge you on questioning that. Also, if you like traveling, if you like learning things quite fast, the hotel industry can offer you this, because there's not the typical hotel that give me the key and get my room. No, you have many more activities in the hotel, such as the commercial side, the operational side. You have revenue, you have if you want to be a trainer from a gym, you can do that as well. So it depends on what you want. And I always challenge candidates, why you selecting hotels? And you always need to think in the long run, where will this take me in 5 years? And I think planning is fundamental. So every time we plan, normally I planned this morning to get into this podcast. So I put an alarm, I plan to be on time. So I had a coffee before this. So life and career is also about planning. So if you go and work in a place, you need to feel and think, where will this property or function will take me in the next 3 to 5 years? Would it accomplish my goal? Yes or not, or why not? And I think, I'm someone that do a lot of SWOT analysis, and I do SWOT analysis for me. I do SWOT analysis for the team to see what are the strengths or winners or opportunities that I can capture when I'm selecting the right job. And for young people, I would recommend that. So think why you want to do it first, and where do you see yourself in the long run? Yes, when we're kids, we feel, I want to be an astronaut, I want to be, a pilot. But when we grow, our perception and our dreams could change. But really think, what is it that you want to do? And it's okay if you don't know what you want to do. It's okay, because not all of us can know what we want to do in 10 years or 5 years. But at least if you go and try, don't think, oh, this is a waste of time. Think that you're learning. Think that you're learning either to communicate, either to be someone more disciplined, either to be someone on task orientated, either someone that becomes a good listener because you're receiving information to be able to put in your job. So I think take it as an experience. If you don't know what you want to do, it's okay as well, but make sure you take that time to learn. So if you want to learn, hotels is the place. Again, there's thousands or I don't know, millions of hotels around the world. But there's always a room for someone. There's always a room for you.
Brilliant. Nice one. So as always, I'm taking notes of the main concept that come through the conversations. I've taken notes like the world of hospitality is about connecting, meeting people and creating friendships in there, growing, learning. You mentioned that a lot of times, learning word, liking people, creating relationships, and then about training, building trust. It's about the personality, the profile that people have, if they like the service, if they have that kind of attitude towards service, thinking outside the box, planning, having a vision, and again, learning. It's kind of all going in a circle.
It's a vicious circle, and I think circle, yeah, because it's at the end of the day, yes, you might have a different personality, I might have a different personality, but at the end of the day, we're human beings. And when we feel rewarded, when we feel that we learn something new, when we feel at ease, that we're happy in a place, you're gonna give the best of yourself. So if you're an employer or an employee, think, am I treating the team correctly, that they feel engaged? Am I giving them value, not only for the brand, but also for their career growth? Sometimes, for example, I get questions, why you spend so much time with team members? And for me, this is the core. If you get to know them, sometimes I get them to do things that I want them to do, but they do it themselves because they're influenced. And I think this is the magical thing about leading a team. If you manage to influence your team on things that they like, but you want them to do, you're a pro, basically. And I think this is the learning stage for anyone that is managing a team. So to me, it's a vicious cycle, and it should work for both parts, for the employer and the employee, for the brand as well. And it's something continuously moving. So never stop learning.
Great closing message there. That's all from my side, really. I mean, great conversation, very inspirational, to be honest. I think can be very useful for whoever, is trying to find their space in the hospitality industry. I don't know if you have anything else, any last thoughts from your side, Yovany?
No, I think my closing message will be this. It's not all about moving, it's about selecting the right move. And if your next move is hotels, always think why you're selecting that move and where it will take you. And apart from that, if you want to learn more about me and what I do on a daily basis, don't hesitate in following me either in LinkedIn, as my name is Yovany Santa Torres, or in YouTube or Instagram as Y Hotelier. So thank you, Pablo, for inviting me, and definitely be able to connect with people.
Perfect. Good. So thanks very much for your time, Yovany. Y, as the initial of your name, that's the way to connect you, to find you on LinkedIn or Instagram, Y Hotelier. So as I said, thank you. And hopefully the information you shared was useful for whoever's listening to the podcast. And that's all for now. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Pablo. Thank you. Ciao. Bye.
That was all for now. Hope you found it useful. Remember that you have more information on our website, www.torresconsulting.co.uk, on LinkedIn, on YouTube, and Twitter. Stay well. Goodbye for now.